Hello, welcome to this week's Saturday site visits. So today is 3 things following on from my post earlier this week, 3 things that we do not do. So the first one is insulation. So this is a really good Terralana wall insulation. You can see that it's really dense, but it's really important looking at how any insulation is installed, because if there's any sort of creases in it like this, or worse than that, any sort of gaps, even tiny little gaps where the insulation doesn't properly line up with the framing or whatever it's installed into, it will seriously diminish the effectiveness of the insulation. And that's extremely important because it can affect the insulation effectiveness by up to 50%, which if you spend all this money on some fantastic insulation and then the install's not that good, then it's a complete waste of money. And the second one is windows. So I have seen quite recently in a few houses, and actually in some new townhouses that I've recently seen, some huge windows, in some case big sliding doors, that are looking immediately at a wall that might be a couple of meters away. So the cost of those windows, putting in big windows, is expensive, but it's also the biggest place where you start to lose heat from a building. So they're wasted. It's a waste of money and it's a waste of energy. So we wouldn't do that. And the third one is ignoring overheating. So they're estimating that by 2050, 50% of greenhouse gases will be due to cooling of our buildings. And that's because temperatures are rising and the climate is getting hotter, but we've got to stop that heat coming into our buildings, which means we've got to stop it on the outside and with appropriate shading so that our buildings don't get too hot, because it'll take too much to cool them down. So there you go.